instruments together and how to hold them properly. And then we'll talk about putting our instruments away. So I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Marshall, and he's going to talk first about posture.
Hello, all three of you who are joining us right now. Like Mr. Edwards said, we're going to go through a few things. First of all, we're going to be dealing with posture. So I know we're at home right now, and me too. When I'm at home, I'm going to be sitting like this, maybe like this, who knows. But when we're here in band class, that's not how we do things. So the first thing we want to do is on our chairs here, we want to scoot all the way up to the front of the chair. Make sure that our feet are flat on the ground and in front of us. Not like behind us, not crossed, not anything like this. This is going to allow us to slouch and kind of compress all of our internal organs, which is the opposite of what we want. So, feet back up front, lift up, sit tall, back straight, like I said earlier, up against the front of the chair. And with that, we have nice open chest, stomach. All of our internal organs are all nice and stretched out. That's going to give us the least amount of tension to deal with when we're playing our instruments. So just like that, go through your checklist from bottom to top. Your feet goes up to your back, which should be straight up, nice and open. So now that we're done with the posture, we're going to talk about assembling, we're talking about our breathing in air. I think we have, that's McKenna joining us now, down there. All right, so when we're breathing for trumpet, there's a couple things we want to keep in mind. There's two different air streams that we could have when we're going to play. So that's going to be slow, warm air, and then cooler, faster air. So our first one being the warm, slow air is going to be like fogging up a window. So I want everyone to take their hand and put it out in front of them like that. And then nice, warm, slow air, like you're fogging up a window. Yeah, so when we're playing the trumpet, however, that's not what we want. So I want to create that difference between what we want and what we don't want. Now, what we're going to want is a nice, cool stream of air. We're thinking faster air, like 40 to 50 mile per hour winds here. So I want you to say toe, like toe on your foot. So toe. Articulate the T a little bit harder. So toe. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. And when you say toe, you have that open O sound, right? So toe. Can everyone hold out saying toe? Toe. Just like that. Everyone try it. Toe. All right, yeah. So that's the first step. And now we want to transfer that to air. So keeping that O shape, we're going to make the same shape, but we're going to blow air through it instead. So it's going to sound like toe, not like that. Toe. So it almost sounds like two, but we're still trying to keep that open O sound of toe. So I want everyone to try that. So it's going to be a little bit faster. All right. Can I hear one at a time? I want to hear everyone do that. So can I hear just Charity first? So unmute your mic, and I want you to try that.
Toe.
Yeah, so toe, and then to make that into the air, it's almost like saying two, but keep the openness of O. So yeah, just like that. Good job. All right, Carson, your turn. Try to put some more air through that. Yeah, push. So, in your lips, you're going to want to push a little bit tighter together. And yeah, that's better. We'll work on that more as we come into the classroom. All right. Nolan, can I hear you? Yeah. And McKenna? Yeah. It's still a little bit too open. Try to close your lips a little bit more from the sides. So it's going to be like, yeah, just like that. All right, awesome. So now that we've got that, I want to have all of us do that together. You don't have to turn your mics on or anything, just all together. I'll give you 4, and then we'll just hold it out for 4. We want to sustain this air. So I'll give you an example first. So 1, 2, 3. So just like that. All right, we'll do that a few times, and then we'll move on. So 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Yeah, and we'll keep practicing as we go along, so we'll get better and better over time. All right, so next, I want to do a little bit with some, just like how to hold and bring out your trumpet properly. So, do I need, yeah, move down a little bit. So I have my case right here. My case probably looks different from the case that you have, but it's going to be something along these lines. So when you're opening it, you want to make sure to have the bottom part obviously on bottom. And how do you tell that? Usually on trumpet cases, you'll see the brand on the top here. We have some that still have the Muncie Music logo sticker on them, or Quinlan and Fabish now. So if it has something like that, that's probably on the top of your case. It's going to be up here somewhere. And you'll have little latches on here. So the way you can check is you'll unhook the latches, or in my case, I'll unzip the zipper here, and you'll like slowly open up the lid. And if you kind of see instruments like on the bottom here, then that's what you want. But if you kind of feel instruments starting to like wiggle around when you do this, that means it's probably on the ground upside down. So just make sure that it can open like this and that your instrument is on the bottom. And just to make sure that you take it out of the case correctly, you don't want to drop it or anything, take one hand, and when it's in the case, generally like this, you'll take your right hand here, and then take your left hand as you pick it up, so you have both hands on it as you pick it up. Then you'll just switch it over to your left hand, take your mouthpiece in your right, and then you twist it just to make sure it stays in and it doesn't drop. And that's all there really is for assembly on trumpet. We don't have a lot of pieces like the woodwinds do. So that's about it on that. So.
All right. Everyone, I want to point out how to hold around the valves. Okay, you'll notice how Mr. Marshall has his thumb behind the valve, and then pointer and middle will actually end up right in front of the valves. And then our third, or our ring finger will go through the third valve slide ring, which moves that third valve slide that's moves up in the front there. Now, for the right hand, you're going to take your right thumb and you're going to put it between the first and second valves, and then you're just going to turn your hand up so the pointer, middle, ring go on top of it. Okay? Now, to make the buzz sound on the trumpet, Mr. Marshall, can you turn to the side there so they can see this a little bit from the side? All right, so to make our buzz sound on the trumpet, you're going to lick your lips, and you can all do this at home at the same time. You lick your lips, you put your lips together like you're saying the letter M.
M.
and then you're going to blow air through them. Okay, try that at home. Now, when we put our lips up to our mouthpieces, then we get a buzz on the mouthpiece. Sounds like this. Now, depending on how loose your lips are, you can get lower notes. If you push your lips together harder, you'll get higher notes. And if you start with looser lips and tighten them, you can go up, and then you can loosen your lips again and bring it back down. And that's what we call a siren. Okay? So that's the basics of making our sound on our trumpets. Okay? Mr. Marshall, can you put the mouthpiece onto the trumpet, and let's demonstrate what it sounds like going from a C up to a G. Notice Mr. Marshall did not push any of the valves up or down. He was controlling that entirely with his lips. Okay, why don't we see that again? So for the C, his lips are looser and they're more pushed together to go up to the G. Okay? Now, why don't you go from C up to G, going up the scale, major scale, and let's watch the valve combination. So our first 5 notes right there, we have open for our C, and then we have first and third for our D, first and second for our E, first valve for our F, and then open for our G. Okay? Any questions?
Carson, is your hand up? I can't tell. Are you asking a question? No? Okay, cool.
All right, so we've gone through posture, we've gone through making a sound, we've gone through breathing, we've gone through making our sound. So our next step is the reverse, where we're going to put our instrument away. I'll let Mr. Marshall demonstrate this.
Alright, so just like we did when we put it together, we're going to take it apart the same way, just in reverse. So remember how we twisted our mouthpiece, right? We twisted that on to make sure that it would stay like this. Well, this time, lefty-loosey, we're just going to loosen it up a little bit. You don't want to pull it straight out, so usually when I do that, I twist and then twist and pull. So that way it's pulling but still becoming a little bit unloose there. And then you place that wherever you have your mouthpiece holder in your case. So mine is up here, but it can be anywhere in there. Just make sure to check for that. It should be pretty clear when you pull out where that is. And then your instrument, you want to transfer hands depending on where your case is at. And if your case is to the side, you have your trumpet on the side, take both hands and gently place it in. Mine's like this, so I just place it in there like that. And make sure that it's all nice and snug in there. They have little cuts in the cases, so that way you know it fits just right. And when you close your lid, and this goes for any lid, you don't want there to be any tension there. So let's say I left my trumpet like this, like if it was in a different case. If I did this and it's not closing all the way, don't force that closed because that's going to cause damage to the instrument. Instead, what you want to do is just make sure it fits into those cuts nice and well. Not too much pressure to put those in. Close the lid. If it closes just fine, you can latch it up, zip it up, whatever you need to do. And before you pick it up, you don't want to pick it up because these will be on the ground. It's just on chair right now just to show you guys. So make sure it's all latched up before you pick it up because if it's not, the trumpet could fall out, it could get damaged, and those repairs aren't fun to do. So after that's all done, see it's all latched up, grab by the handle and you're ready to go.
right. So, does anyone have any questions